It shouldn't have been so hard. Shouldn't have taken this long. And I've lost far too much sleep over this. It's just a simple office redesign, right? Just a little room, a little bit of change, just something fresh, something new. Really, how hard could this be? This is an unnecessarily dramatic story. Hey, I'm Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome for the very first time. All around, welcome. I'm Carrieblogger, a career freelancer on Fiverr.com, where I've been selling as a Fiverr Pro verified copywriter for about the past 9 years. And in today's video, like I said, I am taking you through the whole saga that is redesigning my office. And in order to help me achieve this grand reveal, which I'm not showing you yet, I hired 3 strangers $150 to help me redesign my office. But before we get into that, we have to announce this week's Blogger of the Week. And if you'd like to be the Blogger of the Week, just like Augustine Barriotto, all you have to do is drop a comment down below and you might get picked. Chapter 1, the before. Like I said, I use my office a lot. I work from home exclusively, and this is my space, both for tax home office deduction purposes, but mostly for actual efficiency and productivity purposes. But I just really wasn't happy with how things were looking, and I felt like the way I had the space set up was just wasting a lot of potential space. I might be the worst kind of client who knows what they don't want, but they don't really know what they want. So I prepared a very detailed brief with lots of inspiration, photos, pictures of the room, description of how I wanted it to function, i.e. working, ideally lounging and working, filming, and playing music. And I said that my budget was ideally around $800. If I could make it less expensive than that, even better. And because YouTube is such a big use of the space, the actual camera angle of what would be seen from the camera was especially important and kind of hard for me to map out ahead of time. I searched on Fiverr. Obviously, I'm a Fiverr seller. I found lots of helpful people on Fiverr over the years, and I told them that I would feature them in this video. Starting with Felix Fortino, he was a new seller and he quoted me $50. By LSS is a level 1 seller. They quoted me $35. Studio Deco had a lot of really gorgeous design samples on Instagram. They're level 1 and we're gonna charge me $60. Chapter 4, the delivery. First up, we got Felix Fortino. I have to admit that my first impression was not stellar. And I felt like looking at this, we had a lot of small items, which was partially for budget saving. He was the most budget conscious person, but they didn't really have enough of a big scale impact. They didn't have enough color or enough cohesiveness to have a focal point in the room, that a lot of this just felt like stuff. He did a really thoughtful job of including virtually all of my furniture, but it didn't feel like the room really got used in much more of a unique way. So overall, for a sense of transformation, of seeing this and thinking, wow, my room can look like that, I give it a 1 out of 5. Comfort level of feeling like I would be very comfortable working in the space. It would feel like that homey, light, airy, breezy sense I wanted to accomplish. About a 3 out of 5. Dream style is a 1 out of 5. It's hard to put my finger on it, but it just felt dark and cluttered, and it didn't have enough of the bright, minimalistic sense of what I wanted to achieve. Budget, he was the most budget conscious design that I received. I'll give that a 4 out of 5. Feasibility of being able to achieve this, I'd say it was a 5 out of 5. It would not take much work to reorganize and get things. Overall, I give this one a 2 out of 5. I really wasn't excited about it. I didn't feel like it was what I had in mind. Again, realizing I'm probably the worst kind of client where I know what I want, but I don't know what I want. Next up, we've got By LSS. I liked the concept of where they positioned the desk, but there were a few issues with, for example, the size of the desk not matching what the size of this mock-up is. I still wasn't in love with the fact that the majority of my floor space was going to be taken up with filming equipment. The bigger issue here was that with this design, I would lose out on one of those core functions of the room that I hoped I could get everything in with, which was playing music. And with this, it was a bummer that I kind of had to choose between the chairs and stands or the space for lounging and working, and I couldn't fit all of those things in one. Sense of transformation of the room, I would give this one a 4 out of 5. I feel like the way that she positioned things in the room felt very new, and it felt like it gave it a new sense of purpose. Comfort was a 3 out of 5. My style was a 3 out of 5. I pretty much liked the backdrop that they came up with. Budget was 4 out of 5. Again, some of the things that were included in the design weren't budgeted in, so the final number that I was given wasn't entirely accurate. Feasibility, also 5 out of 5. Pretty easy. They used most, if not all, of the furniture I previously had. But overall, I still felt like it was only about a 2 out of 5 for what I really had in my head. And then finally, we've got Studio Deco. I opened this PDF and my first thought was, wow, I didn't know my room could look like that. And then I thought, wait, how am I supposed to make my room look like that? I am not a construction person. And had this seller asked me, hey, do you think you are capable of building a custom bookshelf wall? I would have said no. My home improvement skills are 0. This, with no instructions, way too far out of my comfort zone. And I even asked them like, hey, there's no measurements for this big wall. How do I make this? And their answer was like, oh, it's really easy. It's just a faux plaster wall. I was like, not gonna do it for me, unfortunately. Looks great in theory. Right off the bat, we're gonna give this feasibility a 1 out of 5. Transformation, 5 out of 5, especially with that first built-in custom bookshelf thing. Like, wow, that is a big transformation. Comfort level, 3 out of 5 again. It doesn't really feel cozy. It doesn't really feel comfy. It's okay. Hitting my style was like a 2 or a 3 out of 5. Budget was a 1 out of 5. It went way over budget and a lot of things weren't explained or accurately linked, so that made it difficult to plan. So overall, again, we're sitting at a 2 out of 5. Not that it was a bad design, but again, I feel like I'm just the worst kind of client because it's not what's up here. And how do I get what's up here into what's out here? So we move on to chapter 5, the revised ask. So with Buy LSS, I felt like even though technically everybody was sitting at about 2 out of 5, I felt like they were the most responsive to trying to tap into what's out here. I came up with this design and essentially they very nicely mocked it up for me. I picked all the furniture, I picked the layout, they put it into a visualization so that I could say, yes, I think that's what I want. This is what's gonna work best in order to get all of those functionalities that I want in the room to happen. Chapter 6, the setup. So I made a list of all my Ikea furniture I needed. I strapped the baby into his carrier. We borrowed my dad's truck and we headed up to Ikea. That $800 budget that I picked out was already pretty tight. And after I sat in the chair that I had picked out and mocked up, I realized it was just gonna be too short for the desk. And I'm a very tall, long-legged person anyway. And I knew that when I sat down in it, it just wasn't gonna be the right fit. So I picked a different one and it was far more expensive than I was planning on. We're just gonna splurge on the chair I wrote down that I liked. I know it's way too expensive. And then, armed with all of our boxes, it was a lot of boxes, we hauled it all home and my husband so nicely put everything together for me. I put together my chair, I put together a little laptop stand, but other than that, he was it. So I got the room set up. It looked pretty much like the visualization that I had planned. I turned on my camera and I just about cried. It looks so bad, and I tried adjusting the camera a million different ways. I tried a different lens. I tried different lighting. I tried moving all the background stuff around, and just like no matter what I did, I mean, you can see it in my eyes. You can just see like the pain and frustration of, oh my God, I tore my office apart. It was fine, and now I hate it so much, and it's just not looking like what's in my head. And again, it's like I hired 3 designers, and I kind of hated all of it, right? I designed something. And I kind of hated it. And it just reached the point where I was like, oh my God, I'm literally gonna have to put my office back the way it was. So I went back to my roots. I went back to my OCD type A, little no friends, anxiety ridden child roots. And just like I did when I was a kid, I cut out little pieces of paper and I put them on my little fake room drawing and I moved them all around to see how the heck I could reorganize my space in a way that made more sense. Chapter 7, the final version. With these little tiny scraps of paper, I was able to better visualize my options. And folks, I think I got it. I think I finally got it, and I'm very excited. I'm not gonna reveal yet. Here we go. We have to rate it. Transformation, I feel like is genuinely a 5 out of 5, which is crazy for the fact that I didn't build a custom bookshelf wall, but the way that the room turned out genuinely feels fresh and new and better. Comfort level is a 5 out of 5. I'm so stoked on how comfortable my desk setup is, with enough legroom, with good sunshine access, with good light bouncing around. I've got multiple places to work. The comfort of wanting to be in here is back. It's nice. Style for myself is a 4 out of 5. I'm still kind of sorting out my personal style a little bit, and so I feel like there's some things that might get tweaked over time, but it's pretty close. Budget. That was a 1 out of 5, and we're going to talk about that in a sec. Feasibility was a 4 out of 5. I did have to scrap the majority of the furniture that I had in this room, but it wasn't hard. And the trip to Ikea, everything fit my dad's truck. Overall, we're sitting at a 5 out of 5, but that leads us to the walkthrough. Ta-da! I am so stoked on my office. I'm so stoked, and I would say I hope you are too, but I kind of don't care. I'm so stoked. I'll have everything linked in the description down below that I'm talking through, but here as well is kind of a walkthrough of the entire space so you can see what I came up with. For my desk, we're combining the Alex drawers, the Le Captain tabletop, and the Adel's legs from Ikea to create a custom desk. It's super long, and it's awesome and I love it. The Trotten cabinet that I have in the corner is a great way to keep things organized and out of sight with those sliding doors. I also have the V-Howls tall shelf behind me and the V-Howls shorter shelf over here as well. And I ended up creating this little space in the middle for cord organization, but also just so that it has a little bit more of a balanced feel behind me in the frame. The Hat of Shell office chair is my splurge. I know it was a splurge, but I'm genuinely so happy I got it. It's insanely comfortable. It's very adjustable. I'm sure this is a pretty sight. And although it was way more expensive than I was planning on, it was worth it. The couch over here is actually one that we bought at a local furniture store several years ago in a previous house. It was in a previous room, and I stole it for myself so that I have a nice back to my office desk, and I have this other lounging workspace over here as well. And this makes the room feel a little bit more open in that it faces the window, and I have kind of two distinct areas that both mesh together pretty well. Oh, and last thing is the Vitzjo laptop stand over with the couch. It's not as insanely helpful as I hoped it would be, but I am glad that I have another surface there to hold stuff. Then we get to the tech side of things, because in order to redesign the space with better lighting, or at least different lighting, I needed a couple new upgrades to my studio. First, we have a camera desk mount. I actually had to buy this one twice because porch pirates stole my Amazon packages off our porches. Thank you very much for that. I also have a desk LED light panel, which isn't as great as I was hoping, but it is doing the job. And this adorable ring light. I honestly got this because it's white and pretty and cute, and I want more white, pretty, cute things to go on my white, pretty, cute desk. The extendable tripod is also new for the LED light panel. I feel like it's hard to find a tripod that adjusts to this tabletop height without being like a full-size floor tripod, just a little bit tricky. And the ceiling light mounts I kind of found by accident. And I know that I probably mounted them wrong, but they are adjustable in the angle of how I have them set up, and I like that I can still reach the toggle on-off switch, so I don't have to have ugly cords, and it's still very easy to turn the studio on and turn it off. Then we get into all these little extras throughout the room, all the little dumb knickknacks that make things more aesthetic, either in the actual backdrop we have here or just in general for ambiance of creative oomph. The curtains and curtain rod I got from Target. I was planning to go cheaper and get them from like Marshall's or Ross, but apparently those aren't existing in late June, early July. Don't know why. On the other wall, I have these fun tiles that my husband got me for a birthday present, and I think that's pretty much it. So total, how well did I stick to my $800 little renovation, we'll call it a redesign budget here? We're not counting the seller fees that I paid to these designers, and we're also not gonna count the gas for my dad's truck. But in total still, I spent $1,305 on my office redesign. It's a lot of money. Why did I do that? But you know why? Because I love it. I love my office now. Was it worth it? Hiring designers, no, was not worth it. But like I said, I know I'm just kind of a bad client. I should just warn people about that before doing the redesign at all. Was that worth it? Yeah. I love my office now. I love being in here. I probably love being in here a little too much, but yeah, I'm really glad I did. If you're still watching, you know you are my actual hero. Thank you so much for being here. As always, please make sure to check out the links to stuff I've got going on in the pinned comment and description down below, including links to everything in my office in case you want to take a better look. Remember, you are worth so much more than your workload wherever you happen to be working. And let's get back to work.